Hello artists! Today I want to introduce you to the Drawing Center. The Drawing Center is full of dry media and inspiration for different drawing projects that you might choose to do throughout the year. On the wall you'll see some posters, some instructional posters that can give you tips about your drawing skills, as well as a place for famous works of art to inspire you. These can change throughout the year. I'm going to zoom in so that you can take a look at some of the specifics of what we have in the Drawing Center. On the bottom shelf of the Drawing Center, you'll find bins with crayons, as well as texture rubbing plates. Texture rubbing plates can be placed under a piece of paper, and then you gently rub over the top of the paper to add an interesting texture to your background. On the middle shelf of the Drawing Center are markers. They're organized by color, and these markers need to always have the caps put back on them or they'll dry out. Please make sure that when you use markers, it's not on top of a different wet material. You don't want to use markers on top of wet paint or they'll stop working. On the middle shelf, you'll also see that there's a bin of colored Sharpies, as well as some paint crayons. Feel free to experiment with the paint crayons, but remember not to put markers on top of wet paint crayons. On the top shelf of the Drawing Center are colored pencils. They're also organized by color, and there's a bin with woodless colored pencils. They have a very soft pigment that's really nice to blend. You'll also see that there are some empty baskets on top of the box of woodless colored pencils, and those can be used to gather your supplies and bring them to your table. But at the end of class, you'll return all your supplies to where you originally found them. On the bottom right-hand shelf, you'll find tools to use in the Drawing Center. On this shelf, there are rulers, compasses, stencils for drawing letters or for tracing around, as well as hand pencil sharpeners that you can bring to your desk and use with your colored pencils. On the middle shelf, you'll find that there are drawing resources. There are books that you can look through to get ideas or inspiration. You can find books with animal pictures if you're trying to learn how to accurately draw an animal. There are books that show beautiful illustrations. There are also a selection of how-to books that show you how to draw things like architecture, haunted houses, accurate faces, and things like that. Take a look inside the folder to get some ideas about how to draw specific things and practice developing your skills. On the top shelf of the Drawing Center, you'll see that there are oil pastels, which have an oily base and can be used to blend colors really beautifully. There are also boxes with chalk pastels. If you use either of these, you want to bring a baby wipe or a damp paper towel to your table so you can keep your fingers clean. I also recommend bringing a scrap paper to put over your work so that as you're doing it, it doesn't smudge. There's also a box of charcoal pencils that you can use to add small details to your chalk pastel drawings, and there is some small pieces of pastel paper that you can feel free to make drawings on. On top of the Drawing Center, you'll find a box of drawing figurines. There are animals, some of them that are wooden and can be posed to show different types of action. And there's a model of a human being that can be used to practice drawing the proportions of the human body. There's also mirrors that can be brought to your table for when you're working on a self-portrait. Whatever you choose to do in the drawing center, make sure you consider what type of studio work you're doing. Is it a skill builder? Are you trying a new medium or technique as you experiment and explore? Or are you doing something planned, creative, and unique, which is a piece of wow art? Whichever it is, have fun.